Okie dokie. See if we can't find the stream. Shouldn't be too far away. Go away, Twitch. Damn thing. That one. That one there. Right, so stream's up, I think. Stream's up, chat's up, audio is working as it should. That is absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 2 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at the Bahrain International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Constructed in 2004 and designed by track-making Supremo Herman Tilke, this 3.36-mile, 15-turn circuit is widely considered to be one of the best racetracks for racing on the Formula One schedule. The circuit consists of 3 DRS zones that lead into the prime overtaking spots of Turn 1 and Turn 4. For those who are more brave and audacious, the third DRS zone is located before the very fast and quite demanding Turn 11. Very, very difficult to pass there. You need a lot of skill and plenty of commitment. The other areas, such as the hairpin of Turn 8 and the final 2 corners, turns 14 and 15, are other areas where we might see a little bit of passing. The rest of the circuit consists of technical sections designed to test the driver's skill. The S section, formed by turns 5, 6 and 7, with its nasty curbs, have caught plenty of drivers out over the years. The tight technical section of turns 9 and 10 will more than likely create some early lap drama. And finally, turn 12 with its infamous inside auto spin curb. Although it's not too noticeable in this year's game, it's a section still to be wary of. Considering we're in the Middle East, it should be no surprise that we have dry conditions for both qualifying and the race. Hopefully with that in mind, we get to see some action out on track. But before we focus on that, there is a little bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Australia. Firstly, I'm glad to report that although it was quite a dramatic race, there weren't any incidents submitted for steward review. As a result, no one got penalties, and the finishing order remains unchanged. In the Drivers' Championship, Barmer 22 is leading on 25 points, followed by Bruno Diaz on 18. Vermouth is next on 15. Then Airborne Tiger, Cos Saint, Arba, Andy Wu, and our final point scorer, JD. Everyone else in the championship is yet to score. In the Constructors, Alfa Romeo is leading on 37 points, followed by Mercedes-Benz on 18. So Alfa already a fairly comfy lead with a 19-point gap over Mercedes. Red Bull are next on 15 points, followed by AlphaTauri on 10. Aston Martin on 6, then McLaren on 4. Ferrari and Haas are tied on 2 points, and Williams and Alpine are yet to score. Now, a few reserves have hopped in for today's race. We got Electric Blade in the Haas down in P13, and both Aston Martin drivers, full-time Aston Martin drivers, were unable to make it. We got Shelley the Turtle and Bardfast stepping in for the Aston Martin outfit, replacing Arbar and Kiwi Fruit. And also we have a new name, a name that I haven't seen before, LFR_Arta Mello? I think it's Mello, or is it Milo? I'm sure I'll be corrected on the pronunciation of that. I'll stick with Mello for now. I believe he's going to be hopping in full-time in the second Haas seat that was left vacant at the start of the season. But other than that, we can now focus on what's happening out there on track in this qualifying session. Arto has just jumped up to the top with a 28.7. Plenty of drivers on their first flying laps. Shelley the Turtle very low on battery, but proceeding to push along with this flying lap. Kitten Petter just beginning a flying lap as Vermouth crosses the line to set a 1 minute 28.704. Takes pole position by a very small margin by 19 thousandths of a second. As Barmer jumps up to the top, we'll ride on board with Fortnite Racing, give you a tour of this circuit. So we just came through the opening complex of turns 1, 2 and 3, now into turn 4. Good overtaking spot, and we're bound to see some drama here on the first lap. Now heading towards the S section that begins the second sector. Turn 5, turn 6, then turn 7. Turn 7 is quite nasty. Very nasty curbs lying on the inside and on the outside of turn 7. You have to be very, very careful. Out of turn 8, heading towards turn 9 and 10. Another area where that will see drama, and an area where we'll see a lot of locking up, and a lot of that losing traction on corner exit. These cars are incredibly traction limited, so when the guys get on the power, they'll more than likely lose the back end if they're not careful. Around turn 11, up the hill around turn 12. This has been a notorious corner for accidents in previous games. That inside curve is basically a death sentence. Out to turn 13. Important that you get a nice run out of 13 because it's a fairly lengthy straight that leads towards turn 14. Speaking of which, you'll go hard on the brakes, bring it down to third gear, back on the power, out to 14, around the brief corner of turn 15, then up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 29.4. He is just over a second off pole position, which is currently being occupied by Bruno Diaz in the Mercedes-Benz. Currently, the field spread is about 2.5 seconds, I think. Just off rough arithmetic. But I imagine that's going to close up quite significantly over the course of this qualifying session. Bahrain International Circuit is a very well-known racetrack. Oh, as Blade has a moment there. He catches it well, and he's still in qualifying. He hasn't ended up in the barrier. That's the most important thing. Yes, it's a very well-known racetrack. Everyone has done a league race around here at some point. It does help with the fact that it's towards the beginning of a championship season rather than the end of it. But yeah, I imagine qualifying is going to be very close tonight. Now, everyone will be on an in-lap. Oh, Saint is on an out-lap. He's getting ready. Getting his tyres up to temperature. A very important thing to worry about in this game is tyre temps. In qualifying, you tend to try and run higher tyre pressures so you can get your tyres up to temperature nice and quickly. Try and get optimum performance out of the tyre. But for the race, you have to drop them to minimum. Now, that wasn't the case at the very beginning of this game's life cycle. At the beginning, you could run basically whatever tyre pressures you wanted. But after an update, yeah, you can't run anything higher than minimum. It's a bit poor, to say the least. Because if you do forget to lower your tyre pressures from qualifying to the race, you're basically screwed. It's race over. Because it's almost impossible to deal with the higher tyre temperatures during the race. It's just unbearable. Saint will come around the final two corners. It always strikes me why they decided to have that section of racetrack two corners and just instead of just one corner. It's always bewildered me why they did that, but anyway. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1, easily the best overtaking spot on the racetrack. Down to third gear, then short shifting to fourth. Around turn 2 and fifth gear. Around turn 3, now towards turn 4. The second best overtaking spot on the circuit. Entry speed at just over 310 kilometers an hour. I'll change that to miles an hour in a few moments' time. I just realised I still have it in kilometers. Around turn 5, around turn 6, then turn 7, then down the hill towards turn 8. Big braking zone. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few drivers send it down the inside there into turn 8. It's a very overtakeable corner. Turns 9 and 10, you have to be very careful, especially for these guys in this session. No ABS and no traction control allowed for these guys, so we're going to see plenty of locking up into turn 10. 8th gear, 310 kilometers an hour, bringing it down to just under 160. He spins out, loses control of the car, demonstrating how traction limited these cars really are. You do have to be exceptionally careful. Bruno Diaz is arriving on the scene. He's on an outlap, so I'd imagine Saint will get out of the way and let Bruno get on with it. Around turn 3 comes Barmer 22, our current championship leader, a defending drivers champion from season 8 and season 9. coming out of turn 4, heading towards the first sector split. The clock says he's up by just under 0.2 of a second. Down the hill through the S section towards the hairpin of turn 8. You'll bring it down to 3rd gear and short shift to 4th, desperately trying to find traction on corner exit. Over the crest towards turn 9. 7th gear, he'll bring it all the way down to 3rd as Artemello jumps up to the top with a 1 minute 28.064. Down the back straightaway goes Barmer 22, heading towards turn 11. Again, an overtaking spot, a potential overtaking spot, but you need to be awfully committed. And we saw what happened to Saint earlier. If you get on the power too early, coming out of 11, you will spin. Barmer is up by 3.5 to the middle sector, but he needs to improve by another 0.2 in this final sector to challenge Artemello for pole position. Around the final 2 corners, 4th gear, back on the power, or losing the back end a couple of times there, but caught it very well. He'll cross the line to set a 28.173, jumps up to the front row, misses out on pole position by just over 1/10 of a second. Bruno Diaz is up by 61 thousandths to the first sector. What does the clock say in the middle sector? He's found a little bit more time. He's up by just under 1/10. To challenge pole, though, he needs to find 3/10. Now, I think that's Airborne Tiger in the Alfa Romeo who has lost it at turn 11. Considering Barmer just finished the flying lap, that can't be him. So I believe Tiger just had a moment there at turn 11. Crossing the line, Bruno Diaz stays 3rd, but improves by just under 0.2 to set a 1 minute 28.207. Vermeer is the next car, currently P4 with a 28.596. To improve position, he needs to find 0.4 on this flying lap. And considering the amount of battery he's got left, I don't think this will be a very competitive flying lap. Mitch Burns doesn't appear to be on a flyer. Neither is Shelley the Turtle. Fortnite Racing is up by 0.5 to the middle sector, looking to improve by quite a bit. This will put him into the 28s. He'll open DRS and cross the line. It's a 1 minute 28.926. Jumps up to P6 with that just behind Andy Wu. At first, I believe just completed a flying lap with a 29.5. Kitten Petter getting ready to set a flying lap. He's making his way through the first sector. Saint is making his way through the final sector. Fresh set of soft compound tyres on the AlphaTauri. Bring around the final corner. Switch the battery on and head down the main straightaway. This will give me ample time to do this just quickly. On-screen display. Miles an hour, please. There we are. Should have done that before the stream, but I completely forgot. Out to turn 1 in 4th gear, up to 5th gear through turn 2 and around turn 3. Same will open DRS and head towards turn 4. Hard on the brakes from 193 miles an hour. Brings it down to about 75 miles an hour at the apex of turn 4. Crossing the first sector split, now making his way through the middle sector S section. Out to 7 towards the hairpin of turn 8. Down to 3rd gear, short shifting to 4th, finding plenty of traction on corner exit. Over the crest into 9 and 10. Down to 3rd gear, running a little bit wide, too wide in fact. Lost control of the car, but more importantly invalidated his flying lap. Verstappen on an outlap, losing the back end. He's in the Sonoda Mobile, you can tell from the helmet and the car number 22. Oh! Petter almost lost it there. Coming out to turn 2, heading around turn 3. And I believe he's in harvest mode. You can tell from the flashing light at the back of the car. But that doesn't stop him from spinning out. Oh, don't put it into the barrier. He doesn't. Well done. Electric Blade on an outlap. Game Boy, are you on a fly? Seem to be on a fly. Using battery, heading towards turn 4. 193 miles an hour. Apex speed 71. So a few miles an hour off what we saw Saint do through his first sector. Into the hairpin of turn 8. See a Red Bull getting out of the way. That must be Vermeulen because Berzy is still in the pits. Over the crest and around turns 9 and 10. Get down to 3rd gear, down to 2nd. Will he short shift? The answer is no. Uses all of second gear there. Seen a lot of drivers short shifting out of those tight hairpins. Game Boy, no need. Fourth gear through turn 11. Up the hill towards turn 12. Flat out through the right-hander, but you do have to be very careful of that inside curb. Up by just over a tenth and a half in the middle sector. That sort of time he can get into the 1 minute 28. Now the final two corners, turns 14 and 15, down to fourth gear, back on the power. Not bothering to use too much curb. They're very tidy. Ooh, Game Boy peels back into the pits. Ooh. Completely flat out into the pits. And the reason why he's done that is because there's only 3 minutes left on the clock. So we're getting towards the pointy end of qualifying. I'm guessing he has one final set of fresh tyres in the garage that he wants to use. Verstappen, without a lap time, he's joined mid-session. So this will more than likely be his only attempt at a flying lap, considering how much time we have left in qualifying. Around the final two corners, fourth gear, full acceleration out of the final turn. He'll open DRS and cross the line. It's a 28.494 P4 for Verstappen. Quite a nice lap time considering the circumstances of him joining mid-session. Vermeulen was up by a little bit in the first sector, making his way around turns 9 and 10, using the full width of the circuit on the entry. Not bothering to use any exit curb though. Heading towards turn 11. There's a car directly in front of him that's not getting out of the way. Now does. That would have cost Vermeulen just a little bit of time, I imagine. First sector split says he... second sector split, rather. Says he's up by 0.2 of a second. So maybe he didn't impede him as much as I thought. And that'll be Saint that was in front of him there. Around turns 14 and 15 to complete this flying lap. Vermeulen will set a 1 minute 28.374. Jumps up to P4, overtaking Verstappen. Bruno Diaz getting ready. Barber getting ready. Artemello getting ready. Saint on a flying lap, heading around turn 1. Now into the tricky turns 2 and 3. Nice and stable there at the exit of that technical section. Blade hurrying around, getting ready to set his final flying lap. Bad fast on a flying lap as well. Bursey making his way out to turn 3, heading towards the first sector split. And that's Fortnite Racing, who was spun at turn 4. And he's beached on the curb. I believe he's beached on the curb there. As Verstappen retires in pit lane, Fortnite Racing has been disqualified. You can see the AI is trying to move off the curb, but he's beached. Car can't move anyway. That's really unfortunate. He'll have to start from the back of the field. Vermeulen is off the racetrack as well at turn 10. His qualifying is over. Diaz making his way up towards the first sector split. What will the clock say? He's currently P3 with a 28.2. First sector says he is up by 76 thousandths of a second. Barmer's making his way towards the first sector split. What will his time say? Out to turn 4, on the power, up to the first sector split. The clock says he's down by a tenth of a second. Artemello is making his way through the opening complex. Turns 1, 2 and 3. He loses control of the car. Oh, and spins out into the gravel trap. Well, his qualifying is over. It's down to Barmer and Diaz to beat the Haas driver. Up to the middle sector split for Diaz. What does the clock say? He's up by a tenth. He needs to find half a tenth in this final sector to try and take pole position. Up towards the final two corners of the circuit. Turns 14 and 15. Entering in at 197 miles an hour. Gets it just about right on the exit as well, using the full width of the racetrack. Up towards the line. It's not enough though. He lost time in the final sector. It looked pretty tidy, but evidently he got it wrong. Barmer is down still. Can he improve in this final sector? Up towards the line. He does improve, but not by enough. It's a 1 minute 28.169. He's missed out on pole position by a tenth of a second. Game Boy goes back into the pits. So does Shelley the turtle. And I think that's it. That's qualifying over. It's Artemello on pole position. How about that? On his debut, he's put it on pole. Not by much though. Just over 1/10 separating the top two at the end. Barmer P2. After what he said in the Discord, I'm a bit surprised that he's P2. He doesn't like Bahrain too much. But he will be starting on the front row. Bruno Diaz is next, followed by Andy Wu. Vermoed P5, then Verstappen. Airborne Tiger, Saint, Kitten Petter, and Mitch Burns completes the top 10. Game Boys next, followed by Shelley the Turtle. Burzy, Bad Fast, Electric Blade, and really unfortunate for Fortnite Racing, getting beached on the curb at the exit of turn 4. Couldn't really do a thing. Fortnite Racing will have to start from the very back of the grid in 16th place. Race time. Now the strategy here I think is very simple. It's the same at every racetrack we go to now with this game. It's either medium hard or hard medium. I don't think the soft tyre will be very viable here at Bahrain International Circuit. Never has been in any of the previous games, and I don't think that's going to change today. Now, drivers will be fine-tuning their setups, trying to work out how much fuel they want to have in the car. Also deciding when their pit window is going to be. Session counter counting down, and we'll get this race underway. Hopefully this will be an interesting race. It usually is here at Bahrain. As I mentioned in the intro, Bahrain is one of the better tracks for racing on the calendar. You got 3 DRS zones, you got good overtaking spots, and it's a well-known racetrack. So typically the racing here is quite good. Oh yeah, that's right, no formation lap, I forgot. It's lights out and away we go. Heading down towards turn 1, Artemello gets a nice start, so does Andy Wu. And he's trying to challenge down the inside here. And he'll get Barmer, and he's trying to get Artemello as well. Around turn 2, heading up towards turn 3. They're side by side heading towards turn 4. Here we go. Andy Wu with the inside line. Artemello trying to work around the outside. Arte can't get it done. It's Andy into the lead. What a great start from the McLaren driver. Barmer, P3, then Verstappen, then Saint. Diaz and Airborne Tiger are battling for position. Through the S section we go. Bruno is in front. Airborne Tiger can't do much to fight back. Into the hairpin of turn 8. The field bunches up just a little bit. Drivers try and sort themselves out. Mitch Burns and Bad Fast battling. Bad Fast gets the short end of the stick there and drops down to 15th place. Burzy down to 16th. What a start for Fortnite Racing. He's up 6 spots. He's up to P10. Electric Blade falling down to last place now, making some sort of mistake through turns 9 and 10. Up the hill around turn 12. And around turn 13. Let's take a quick look at who's on what tyre. Quite a few drivers starting on the mediums, quite a few drivers starting on the hards. It's almost a 50-50 split. Andy Wu leading the way on the medium compound tyre. Artemello just behind on the mediums as well. Barmer's next on the hard tyre, followed by Verstappen and Saint. Fortnite Racing overtaking Kitten Petter. Vermoed dropping down a position as well. Make that 2. He goes down to 12th. But he and Game Boy are on the medium tyres. The 4 drivers in front of these 2 are on the hard tyre, as Vermoed is trying to fight back into turn 1. He has the inside line, he's sending it in, and he not only overtakes the lead Game Boy, but he also overtakes Kitten Petter. Well, not quite. Petter gets the position back through turn 2, up the hill and around turn 3. Saint under assault here from Bruno Diaz. Andy Wu drops a position to... Oh, no, he doesn't. He's lagging a little bit. So he lagged behind Artemello, now he's back in front of Artemello. Well, that's a wee bit concerning. Saint close, not close enough to fight back here at turn 8. He has to stay behind the Mercedes. So head around turns 9 and 10. Right, let's properly see who's on what tyre. So the top 2 are on mediums. Barmer is the leading driver on the hard compound tyre. The next 3 drivers, Verstappen, Bruno and Saint, they're on the mediums. The next 4 drivers, Tiger, Shelley, Fortnite, and Kitten Petter, they're all on the hard tyres. Vermoo and Game Boy are on the mediums. Mix Burns is on the hard tyre. Bardfast is on the medium tyre. Burzy is on the medium, same with Electric Blade. It's pretty much a 50-50 split in terms of tyre compounds. Now, starting lap 3, DRS is going to be enabled. Andy Wu's trying to drive away from the pack behind, but Arto is still within a second of the race leader. Barmer hounding the back of the Haas. Oh! Contact between Verstappen and Barmer, I believe. Barmer drops down to 5th. Make that 6th place. I think there was contact. I'm not 100% certain. But Barmer has gone from 2nd to 7th with that incident at turn 1. Verstappen now occupies P3, but he's now 1.7 seconds behind Artemello in P2. Game Boy has overtaken Kitten Petter as well. He's moved up to 11th, Kitten Petter down to 12th. Over the crest into turns 9 and 10. This pack of cars with mixed compounds as Saint goes straight on at turn 10. No one alongside, so he rejoins safely. Yellow flags are out though. It's Airborne Tiger off the racetrack at again turn 10. He rejoins down in 14th place. Yellow flags are out. It's Verstappen who has spun out. Seems that he's recovered pretty well though. I figured that he'd spun out into the barrier, so I was just going to stay on board, try and catch what happened. But no, he recovered nicely. He's only lost 3 positions. He's now in P6. My goodness, it's tight right now. The gap's very, very close. In fact, the biggest gap is between P3 and P2. Top 2 of Andy Wu and Artemello, driving away from the rest of the pack. The rest of the pack being Diaz and basically everyone else in the field. That's how tight it is. Arte not quite close enough to make a challenge for the race lead. Bruno doing his best to try and catch up to the leading duo. Saint following behind with a time penalty next to his name. Barmer on the recovery drive after what happened at turn 1. He now has Verstappen right behind him in P6. Shelley runs wide. Fortnite Racing draws alongside. Not quite. Shelley gets better drive out to turn 8. Heading around turns 9 and 10. Fortnite not in a position to attack here. But might be in a position to attack into turn 11. DRS open using a bunch of battery. Going around the outside heading into the left-hander. Shelley can't really fight back here. Has to give up the position. Shelley down to 8th. Fortnite Racing up to 7th. There's Vermoo and Elite Game Boy just behind as well as they head around turn 13. 3-car fight here for 4th place. We got Barmer trapped in an AlphaTauri sandwich. Out to the final corner, heading down the main straight. Barmer and Verstappen will have DRS. And look at Verstappen straight line speed. He slingshots by not only Barmer, but also his teammate Saint. Verstappen overtakes 2 cars on that main straightaway. He's up to 4th. Out of turn 2, around turn 3. Here comes Barmer on Saint. Not really much Saint can do about this. Tries to fight around the outside, but there's no grip out there. Barmer's through into 5th place. Oh, Kitten Petter losing the back end of the car. Caught it very nicely. He's lost a little bit of time, but most importantly, he's still in the race. Down the inside, Game Boy on Shelley the Turtle. Gets the position. Shelley gets better drive, though. And he has the inside line for turn 9. They're side by side. Look at the cooperation here from these two. Fantastic driving from both of them. It's now a drag race to turn 11. Shelley with the inside line and with the nose in front. Game Boy will try and swoop around the long way. Can't quite get it done though. Shelley gets the car in front and keeps P9. And Kitten Petter is now right on the back of this battle. Meanwhile, we might see a change for the race lead. Artemello right on the back of Andy Wu. We're right on board. DRS open, using a little bit of battery, closing the gap. There's not much Andy can do about this. Into the race lead goes Artemello into turn 1. Can Andy Wu fight back though? Down the next straightaway. Vermu has overtaken Fortnite Racing. Game Boy has overtaken Shelley the Turtle as well. Down the next straightaway towards turn 4. Andy will close the gap thanks to DRS, but he's not close enough to attack into turn 4. Palmer not close enough either. Doesn't appear any of these guys are quite in a position to attack just yet. Lovely aerial shot here. Looking down at the racetrack through the S section into the hairpin. You can see Game Boy trying to pull away through that S section. Kitapeta doesn't get a great exit. Airborne Tiger closes in. So head around turns 9 and 10. Down the back straightaway now. None of these guys, I think, are close enough to really attack one another. But give it time, we'll probably see things spice up. Towards the front, none of these guys are quite close enough to battle just yet. Barmer's still in a strategically strong position, being in the top 5 and on the harder of the two compounds. He is in quite a nice place right now. Artemello setting a new fastest lap, 1 minute 31.8. Even with DRS, Arta seems to be faster than Andy Wu. Not quite close enough. Here comes Kitten Peta around the outside of Shelley the Turtle at turn 1. Shelley keeps the position, and it seems that Barmer has overtaken Verstappen as well. That would have been at turn 4. So Barmer's into P4, Verstappen down to P5. And here comes Airborne Tiger around the outside of Kitten Peta. It's tight on the exit. You can see the flashing light at the back of the Alfa Romeo. So Airborne Tiger is low on battery. But he gets the position. He's up to P11. Kitten Peta down to 12. Around the hairpin of turn 8. Look at this pack of cars. About half a dozen of them. Game Boy, Shelley the Turtle, Airborne Tiger, Kitten Peta, Mitch Burns, Badfast, Bursey. And Electric Blade, he isn't too far away either. So it's really, really tight at the moment. Fantastic to see. Artemello now driving away. He's got a 1 second gap that has shrunk a little bit. So Arta is on the precipice of driving away from Andy Wu. If he can break that 1 second gap, the Haas driver is going to be in a very strong position. Andy Wu doing his best to keep up. He still has DRS, so he'll close in down this main straightaway. You can see the flashing light at the back of that McLaren. He is low on battery. Here comes Verstappen down the inside of turn 1. Electric Blade has made a mistake at the final corner. Verstappen's into P4. Blade gets going again. It appears he's ducking into pit lane. Airborne Tiger has overtaken Shelley the Turtle. Can Barmer fight back here into turn 4? Blade has actually retired from the session, so he's had enough. Shelley the Turtle has gotten the position back. Here comes Airborne Tiger down the inside of turn 4. They're side by side at the apex. Or Shelley loses control, has to get out of the way of everybody and plummets down to 14th, make that 15th place. So evidently, Shelley and Airborne made contact there at turn 4. And Shelley got the short end of the stick and has lost quite a few positions as a result. Airborne Tiger now in the top 10. He's got a 2 second gap to close into Elite Game Boy. But more importantly, it's half a second between him and Kitten Peta and basically the rest of the back end of the field. Fortnite Racing hovering on the back of Vermu. This will be a nice position to be in. A bit similar to Barmer, where you got a guy on the softer compound in front of you just towing you along. It allows you to make the most of the harder compound tyre. So Fortnite Racing, similar to Barmer, is going to be in a fairly strong position, I imagine, towards the end of the race. Around turn 1, Heading around turn 2, up the hill towards turn 3. Half a second. So, is that Diaz slowing down? No, not quite. It just looked like he was awfully slow from that camera angle. Looked like he was crawling along. But no, he's fine. There's the leaders. There's P3. Here comes Verstappen, Barmer, and Saint. Oh, Verstappen loses the back end, but he catches it well. Barmer closes the gap. Yellow flags are out. It's Mitch Burns losing control at the S section. It was bound to happen at some point to somebody. It's unfortunate it's happened to Mitch. Side-by-side action between Bursey and Shelley, battling for 13th place. Shelley trying to fight around the outside, can't really do it there. Now Bursey turns defence into attack as he tries to get by Badfast. Down the back straightaway towards turn 11. Both cars have DRS. Bursey's trying to... he backs out. Probably the wise thing to do in that particular situation. Going side by side through turn 11 is quite awkward at the best of times. So it's probably best to be the wiser driver, back out, continue the battle elsewhere. Vermeer, will you be under a bit of pressure here? Fortnite Racing, not using any batteries, just still hovering at the back of Vermeer's car. Around turn 1. Just in a nice comfy position. Doesn't need to push, just needs to keep doing what he's been doing, I think. And I reckon the result will come. Barmer's still on the back of Verstappen. Saint has lost a fair bit of time. 2.5 seconds the gap between Barmer and Saint. His car looks okay. Yeah, he's steadily losing time. Might have some floor damage on that AlphaTauri. I'm not 100% certain. But he is losing time. Running wide is Vermeer. And there goes Fortnite Racing into P7. So a mistake there from Vermeer. Running very, very wide at turn 10. Lost a place, but... well, actually, he's not within a second anymore. He's dropped to outside of that 1 second range. Needs to get back within that 1 second range. Out to turn 13, heading down towards 14. The gap extending to 1.1 seconds. Fortnite Racing starting to drive away. Down the main straightaway, Barmer will get DRS, but he won't be in a position to attack. In fact, everybody is starting to spread out. You can see the gaps between the drivers. Yeah, they're really starting to extend. Vermeer into the pit lane. Hard tyres at the ready. Up go the jacks. No wing change, no wing adjustments. Just fresh, hard tyres being put on that Red Bull. And away he leads. He'll get clear air. Give him the ability to put the hammer down. Yellow flags are out. It's Elite Game Boy in the Williams. Gets going again. Will rejoin in front of Shelley. Shelley will overtake the stricken Williams down the inside at turn 4. Move himself up into P12. Front wing appears to be okay, so I don't think Game Boy got any damage from his incident at turns 2 and 3. He's now down in 13th place. Now, Barmer still hovering behind Verstappen. Gap of 4 tenths between these two. Quite a... oh! I was going to say quite a good battle, but Barmer almost ruined it there. Using all the curb at turn 13. Almost lost control of the car. Down the main straightaway we go. Towards turn 1. Barmer closing the gap, using battery as well as he sets a new fastest lap. Verstappen a sitting duck as Barmer slingshots through into 4th place. Can Verstappen fight back? Around turn 2, around turn 3, the gap is 3 tenths between these two drivers. Up towards turn 4, Verstappen not close enough. Through the S section, turns 5, 6, then 7. Down the hill into the hairpin of turn 8. See their fourth gear, being very gentle on the power. Or losing the backhand just a little bit. He gathers it up well. You can actually see there's a train starting to form behind Andy Wu. Andy low on battery. Very low, 5% as you can see there. Compared to Bruno, who was on 25%. And Barra hovering in the teens. Same with Verstappen. You can see Saint has lost a tremendous amount of time. Now, I reckon he does have damage on that AlphaTauri. He must have damage somewhere on that AlphaTauri. Around the final two corners, heading onto the main straightaway. Bruno, I reckon he was going to try and line up Andy, but Andy has decided to go into pit lane. Down the main straightaway towards turn 1. None of these guys in a position to attack. Andy moving on to a set of hard tyres. Same with Saint, I imagine. Front wing change for Saint? No. So his front wing seems to be okay. Yeah, I'm just curious to why he just suddenly lost quite a bit of time. And Andy's going to come out behind Andy Wu. Mitch Burns will overtake Saint. It appears Elite Game Boy will move on to a set of hard compound tyres as he leaves the pit lane. Artemello leading out in front by 2.6 seconds. Then Barmer, the next car, in P3. 4/10 behind Bruno. Trying to close the gap. Those medium tyres won't feel great now. Starting to become quite worn. Around turn 13. Down towards 14. Bruno closing the gap a little bit to Artemello in front. But now Barmer has the upper hand in terms of the tyres. Those medium compound tyres have seen better days, and I imagine the leaders will be pitting in very soon. Though the top two most certainly haven't, and neither has Verstappen. Down towards turn 1. Not close enough for Barmer. Can he get a run towards turn 4? Needs to get turn 2 and 3 right. He's done pretty well. He'll open DRS and head towards turn 4. He's got momentum. Bruno defends. Oh, but runs wide. And through goes Barmer into second. Bruno can't fight back. He won't have the grip. Oh, though he's certainly trying. He'll have the inside line, but not enough speed. Barmer's into second. Bruno down to third. Verstappen on the attack. Over the crest towards turn 9. Into turn 10. See how much Verstappen closes in. Opens DRS, heading towards turn 11. None of these guys will be in a position to attack. This man might be. Andy Wu going around the outside of Shelley. Shelley just let him through there. Really? Steinman, his tyres fell off. They fell off rather dramatically then, if that were the case. I thought he might have had floor damage, or I wouldn't think rear wing, because he didn't hit anything, and I don't think he was hit by anyone. So I was suspecting he might have had floor damage. But yeah, if his tyres fell off, that is really quite dramatic, how much they fell off. Into the pits goes Verstappen. He might be running with higher pressures. Might have had to deal with poorer tyre temps. I'm not sure. Verstappen moving on to the hard tyre. Airborne Tiger will overtake. So will Kit and Petter. It's going to be close between Verstappen and Andy Wu, I think. Here comes Andy Wu. Verstappen will get him. Verstappen is in front of Andy. But Verstappen is on stone cold tyres. Andy is not on stone cold tyres. And here comes the McLaren. Not enough battery though to try and attack. Andy Wu has to try and look around the outside. Verstappen parks the bus. There's contact at the apex of turn 4. Verstappen stays in front. Through turn 5. Through turn 6. into 7, down towards the hairpin of 8. Verstappen has no grip in those tyres, but he's hanging on. Oh, Andy tries to get better drive, but he lost control of the car mid-corner. Lost a little bit of time, but he's still right on the back of Verstappen. Out of turn 10. He'll open DRS and has to short shift all the way up to 6th gear to try and save the car there. He lost quite a bit of traction coming out of turn 10. He had to short shift up 3 gears to try and save that car. But Verstappen has hung on, only just hung on, to his track position. His tyres should be relatively up to temperature now. They shouldn't be as unbearable as what they were at pit exit. And he does have battery in hand to try and pull away from Andy Wu. And Andy Wu doesn't have any battery to try and respond to that. As a result, Andy can't close in. Stuck in 9th. Mitch Burns pitting in for a set of medium compound tyres. He's the first driver who started on the hard tyre, who has moved on to the mediums. He's going to try and get an undercut on his rivals. So the best that Andy can do now is just stay behind Verstappen. Stay within that 1 second range. Maybe try and save some battery as well, if he can stay with him. Because, yeah, resources aren't on Andy's side right now. To be honest, Verstappen doesn't have much of an advantage in terms of resources, but it's enough. Probably going to be enough to keep Andy at bay. Meanwhile, race leader Artemello still running on those medium tyres. Will it be boxing? The answer is no. Maybe some of these guys are going to try a medium soft race here. We'll have to wait and see, because they're stretching these tyres out quite a bit. I just don't know how good the soft tyre would be around here as a race tyre. Typically around basically every racetrack in this game, the soft tyre is just sort of worthless. But if it does work, I'll be keen to see how it works. Because, yeah, we're past the halfway mark, and there's still people on mediums. So maybe they're going to try and stretch. Around turn 10, heading onto the back straightaway. Bruno's not really in the position here to attack. I think he's essentially in conservation mode, just trying to get to that soft tyre window. The rest of the gaps are pretty big, except for this 3-car train here. Bad Fast, Verstappen, and Andy Wu. P7, 8, and 9. Battling away. Also might have a battle between Bursey and the Elite Game Boy in a few moments, as well as Shelley the Turtle and Mitch Burns. Around turn 11, heading up the hill towards turn 12. Bad Fast hanging on to position, but I imagine he's not going to hang on to it for long. But this is helping Andy Wu close in on Verstappen. He's now under half a second behind. Verstappen, he's eager to get by, but knows full well if he does get by, he won't get DRS down the main straightaway. And now Andy Wu is right on the back of Verstappen. Heading down the main straightaway, Kitten Petter is into the pit, and look at the straight line speed Verstappen has. Driving away like it's nothing. No battery for Andy Wu, but he's going to send it down the inside. Overtakes Bad Fast into 7th place. Kitten Petter, he's moved on to the medium compound tyre. Verstappen has got some really, really good straight line speed. Just pulled away massively compared to not only Bad Fast, but also Andy, who had DRS. Barmer's now half a second behind race leader Artemello. Those medium tyres have definitely seen better days, And now it's very much advantage Barmer 22. He closes into within 0.2 of a second of the race leader as Saint gets a 3-second time penalty. Out of the final corner, heading down the main straightaway, Artemello decides that's it. I'm pitting in now. Keen to see what he pits onto. New leader, Barmer 22. We've got 11 laps of racing still to go through here at Bahrain. It's a set of soft compound tyres. It's going to be incredibly rapid on those tyres. Verstappen sets a new fastest lap. Look at the gap between Artemello and Verstappen. Fairly healthy sized gap. This will give ample time for Artemello to get those tyres up to temperature. He's also got clear enough track in front of him to try and get the hammer down and set some fast lap times. Verstappen closes to almost within a second of the Haas driver. But considering how quickly those soft tyres get up to temperature, there's really not much Verstappen can do to try and challenge Artemello. This is going to be very interesting to see how these strategies work out, as Bursey made a mistake through turns 2 and 3. And here comes... Oh, I thought Mitch was going to have a go there down the inside of turn 2. Thought otherwise. He stays behind Shelley the Turtle as they head through the S section. 4th gear through turn 7, down towards turn 8. Not quite in a position to attack here. Probably going to see some battling between these three. Bruno is in. Soft tyres at the ready. Up go the jacks. On go the soft tyres. And away he leaves. Where will he come out relative to Arthur? Arthur is coming out to the final corner now. It's a very long pit lane, especially if you're in a Mercedes car. It does take a while. Here comes Arthur. He sets a new fastest lap. Sorry, no, Verstappen sets a new fastest lap. And there's Bruno. He'll come out in between Artemello and Verstappen. So the battle is on. And here comes Verstappen. He's on tyres that are up to temperature. Both cars have DRS. Will there be a send from Verstappen? He's close. He's having a look down the inside of turn 4. And Diaz leaves the door wide open. Verstappen is through into 5th place. Bruno on his cold, soft tyres. He needs to get him up to temperature. It won't take long. Right now, Verstappen needs to get a move on. Try and catch up to Arthur if he can. Either that or he needs to defend like buggery from Bruno Diaz. As they head around turn 11. 4th gear. Plenty of wheel spin. I do believe that's an audio glitch. I don't think he's actually wheel spinning. And look at the speed. Bruno just slingshots by. He's back into 5th. Up the hill. Around turn 12. See there, both drivers avoiding that inside curb as they head around turn 13. Race leader Barmer 22 has come into the pits. Soft tyres at the ready. Fortnite Racing is in. Will Tiger stay out? No, I believe he's coming in as well. So the Alfa Romeo team need to move very quickly to get that second set of tyres ready for Airborne Tiger. There goes Artemello into the race lead. Not much separates the top two though. Bruno Diaz just behind. Verstappen in 4th. I wouldn't count Verstappen out just yet either. Those soft tyres will burn out awfully quickly. Those hard tyres will last an eternity relative to the soft tyre. A battle on for P6. Fortnite Racing versus Vermeulen. Down towards turn 4. Vermeulen has DRS, but he's not close enough to attack into the right-hander. Cold tyres aren't helping Fortnite Racing as Bruno Diaz and Barmer 22 are battling for P2. Around turns 9 and 10. Diaz unable to get by. Barmer loses the back end briefly. The gap between the top two extends to 1.8 seconds. Around turn 11. Up the hill towards turn 12. The gap between P2 and 3 sitting at just under 0.4. Verstappen still hovering behind in the AlphaTauri. What an interesting battle this is turning out to be. Meanwhile, Andy Wu stuck in a lonely fifth. He's in no man's land. The gap to the car behind is 6 seconds, and that car behind is Fortnite Racing on the soft tyre. Artemello sets a new fastest lap, a 31 flat. But Barmer is closing. He's closing in. The gap is now 1.5 seconds between the top two. Yellow flags are out. It's Barmer. Oh no. Bruno is off the circuit as well. Verstappen is through into second. P2 and P3 have gotten into an incident, and they've now dropped 6 seconds to the race leader. Oh my goodness me. Now Saint has spun out. That was at turn 3. He's now dropped down to 9th, and Kitten Petter is closing in. But these... Oh, and spinning goes Diaz, right in front of Andy. Andy and Diaz make contact, and Andy Wu is out of the race. Our second retirement. And this appears that we're not going to get a safety car from this either. Oh my goodness. See Andy's stricken car. He had to try and avoid Bruno. Unfortunately, the two made contact. Andy Wu is out of the race. Fortnite Racing trying to get by Bruno here. Around the outside at turn 12. He runs the Alpine driver wide. Out to turn 13. Oh my goodness. Here comes Fortnite Racing on the attack. Tries to look. Doesn't commit to the move. You can see front wing damage on the Mercedes-Benz. Does Bruno want to come in? No, he's going to stay out. Fortnite Racing into P4. Verstappen overtakes... Barmer overtakes Verstappen for P2. Verstappen, can he fight back down this straightaway? He doesn't have DRS to help him out. So I think the answer to that is no. And with all the squabbling going on, Artemello now has a 6.5 second lead. He's got this win in the bag so long as he doesn't make a mistake. There aren't any safety cars for the rest of the race. Kitten Petter getting by Saint. Not quite. Saint tries to fight around the outside. They're side by side heading towards turn 5. Kitten Petter gets in front into the S section. Can Saint fight here into turn 8? He's close. Not close enough, I'm afraid. Has to stay behind. Oh dear, I was really looking forward to the battle towards the front of the field, but... Oh. 3 came together at turn 1. Cost each other a huge amount of time. Really, really unfortunate. And here comes Vermeulen. Bruno with that wing damage. He's essentially a sitting duck out there. That wing damage. Here comes Vermeulen. Fortnite Racing sets a new fastest lap. What a night it's been for him. It didn't start off particularly well. Got disqualified from qualifying after getting stuck on a curb at the exit of turn 4. Had to start from last. Currently, he's running P4. He's got a comfy gap to the car behind. It's a bit of a gap to the car in front, but I don't think he'd mind that too much. He's in a really strong position, driving very well. Barmer trying to close the gap. It's 5.8 seconds. So Barmer looking very fast on those soft tyres. But unfortunately that gap between him and the race leader is just that little bit too big. Really not much Barmer can do in this particular situation. Does appear to be pulling away from Verstappen. That's the silver lining to the grey cloud that is Barmer's situation. But he's pulling away from P3. So Verstappen's challenge for P2 is becoming less and less likely. Airborne Tiger now closing in on the stricken Diaz. Airborne Tiger should make mincemeat of the Mercedes. Closing in down the main straightaway. We also have 5 laps to go here in Bahrain. Towards turn 1. Down the inside. Bruno leaves the door wide open. Around turn 2. Around turn 3. Bruno's just trying to get that car to the end now. The gap between him and the next car is 7.3 seconds, and Saint has made a mistake at the exit of turn 1. Has dropped down, I believe, to 9th place. Now falls to within the clutches of Badfast and P10. I was really looking forward towards the ending of this race. It was looking fairly interesting. All the strategies coming together, but yeah, I can't wait to see post-race what on earth happened at turn 1. I wish I caught that. It's a pity I was looking in the wrong spot. Barmer's still closing in. It's just not going to be enough, I'm afraid. Probably bring up the penalty graphic now. Saint is the only driver with a time penalty. Saint has got 6 seconds next to his name. He's going to lose out a few positions as a result. 3 cars behind him, Badfast, Game Boy and Burns. They're all close enough to overtake him. So that spin at turn 1 has actually cost him a lot more than what I thought. Around turn 4 rather. Barman's still closing the gap, but Artemello just needs to drive sensibly. Keep the car within the white lines, not make any mistakes. Should be an easy victory from here. Around turn 10, 3rd gear, nice and gentle on the accelerator. Doesn't need to push too hard. And Saint has actually dropped another position. This time to Badfast on track. Around turn 13. Heading down towards the final 2 turns, and that's Saint again. He's having a torrid time with the car. It is not cooperating with him whatsoever. Right now he just needs to get it to the finish. Get the race out of the way. Move on to next week. 3 laps to go for the race leader. The gap between the top 2, 4.3 seconds. It's continuing to close, but like I said, not enough laps remaining. Verstappen looks like he's going to hang on to P3. Fortnite Racing has closed in a little, but I don't think he'll have enough laps to catch up to Verstappen. Airborne Tiger and Vermu are battling for position. P5 and 6 right here. Heading down towards turn 4. Tiger closes in just by a little. Not by enough to attack the Red Bull driver. See 6% battery for Airborne Tiger, 8% battery for Vermu. That's actually something I've seen between all the drivers here. Low batteries. It is really, really tough to get battery life back at Bahrain. Spend quite a lot of it, you don't harvest much of it back. So you do have to be very careful with how you spend your battery during the race. Don't understand that camera angle because the leaderboard just completely blocks it. It's quite annoying. Don't know why they would have that camera angle. It's just a sort of worthless angle. Around turn 13, down towards the final 2 corners. Airborne Tiger closing in to within 0.2 of a second of the Red Bull driver. Around turn 14, around turn 15, down the main straightaway. Vermu moves to the inside, trying to break the toe. He's also going to probably try and defend the inside line to turn 1. He's run out of battery. Tiger looking around the long way into turn 1, sends it in deep. He now has the inside line for turn 2. Oh, but Vermu fights back at turn 3. They're now side by side heading towards 4. Airborne Tiger has DRS, but the outside line. Vermouth tries to fight down the inside. Oh, they almost made contact. They both lost control simultaneously and somehow did not make contact. Vermouth lost more time compared to Airborne Tiger. Oh, but he lets Tiger... Oh, Tiger lets him back through. Evidently, they must have made contact. I didn't think either of them made contact from the camera angle I had. I just thought they both lost it at the same time. Evidently, there must have been actual contact between those two, because you can see Airborne Tiger just gave the position back. Either that, or he actually got an illegal overtake prompt somehow. Out in front, the gap has shrunk to 1.7 seconds. It's shrunk quite considerably in recent times, but it's now the final lap. Airborne Tiger gets back past Vermouth into P5. It's looking like another big points haul for Alfa Romeo, and they're going to extend their championship lead in the Constructors by quite a bit. Down the main straightaway, Vermouth is going to try and fight here towards turn 1. Pull out of the slipstream, down the inside into the opening turn, and gets him before the braking zone. Vermouth is back up to 5th. Vermouth, can he hang on here to P5 down this second DRS zone? Airborne Tiger tries to follow, looking down the inside into the right-hander, sends it in. They're side by side, and Airborne Tiger gets in front by only a nose. They're side by side through turns 5 and 6, and still side by side through 7. Vermouth gets in front, but Airborne Tiger gets the switchback, and he's through into 5th. Keeps the lead out of the hairpin as well. Barmer has closed to within a second. He has closed in quite rapidly. But I don't think it's enough. It's been a hell of a drive from Barmer to close this gap up, but I don't think he'll have enough time to send it in here at turn 14. No, it's not going to be enough. Artemello comes out to the final corner and takes the checkered flag and wins the Bahrain Grand Prix by 0.2 of a second. Not going to lie, that gap is a lot closer than what I thought it was going to be. It was a hell of a recovery from Barmer. If he had one more lap, he probably would have got him, but he didn't have that one more lap. Artemello takes the victory. Verstappen 3rd. Fortnite Racing more than likely will get driver of the day with that performance. Airborne Tiger hangs on to P5 as well. Massive points haul for Alfa Romeo. Vermouth in P6, followed by Kit and Petter. Then Bruno. He'll end up scoring points at the end of this. Fortunate that he got damaged with that incident. Badfast 9th. An Elite Game Boy completes the top 10. Oh. And we got these two mucking around. The end of the race. Going to be a form finish between Shelley the Turtle and Saint. P13 and 14 are going to finish. Driver of the day, Fortnite Racing, no surprises there. Got disqualified from qualifying, started 16th, finished 4th. Quite obvious that he was going to get driver of the day. But now it's time for the podium celebrations. Making his Contest of Speed debut, Artemello takes top spot here at Bahrain. Qualified on pole and ends up in victory lane. Not a bad race, I'd say, for your very first in Contest of Speed. Barmer 22 takes P2 and he'll maintain his championship lead in the drivers, and Alfa Romeo will maintain their lead in the constructors. Completing the podium will be Cos Verstappen for Alpha Tauri. Put on quite a performance on those hard tyres, drove quite well. But there we are. the unofficial results of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Artemello takes victory after starting from pole. Bummer 22 will take second after starting second. Verstappen will take third after starting sixth. Driver of the day, Fortnite Racing, from starting 16th, finished 4th with fastest lap. Next is Airborne Tiger, then Vermouth. Kitten Petter, Bruno Diaz, Bad Fast, and Game Boy completes the top 10. Outside the 10 we have Mitch Burns, Bursey, Shelley the Turtle, and Saint. Saint is our final finisher. And out of the race, Andy Wu, from an incident at the hairpin that you can see on screen at turn 8. And Electric Blade, who voluntarily retired in the pit lane after an incident towards the start of the race. Well, it seems that the drama has continued from Australia to here. Might be on course for a dramatic season of racing on Contest of Speed. Definitely had a few incidents here and there, and unfortunately I didn't capture the biggest incident at the front of the field at turn 1. Hopefully somebody has a clip of that so I can see what actually happened. It's unfortunate I didn't get to see it fully. I saw the end of it, that's for sure. It's always good fun here in Contest of Speed, always an interesting race. And Bahrain, as usual, doesn't disappoint. There we are. But I think, everyone, that might wrap up the stream. Not a bad one, I'd say. Definitely seen better races at Bahrain, but this is sort of the norm. You see battles here and there, you see a bit of drama, a bit of action. No, it's just a very nice Bahrain Grand Prix. Sort of a well done Bahrain sort of race. And again, congrats to Artemello. First win in Contest of Speed on their debut as well. Not a bad performance at all. Maybe he'll be a championship contender, who knows. We'll have to see what happens throughout the rest of the season. But I think with everything said and done, it is time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching. And we'll see you next week for round 3 of the AM1 Championship at the Jeddah Corniche Circuit for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And if the previous 2 races, that being Australia and Bahrain, are anything to go by, we're going to see plenty of drama at Jeddah. So definitely tune in next week. But until then, it's goodbye.